Hello everyone and welcome to Club Deck Corner here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. This week in Club Deck Corner, Douglas Park steps down, John Bennett steps up, a touch of Malik and Kevin Clancy. What a lineup. I am Scott Carney and talking about lineups, seamless link and all that, I'm joined by Ali Pearson. Ali, how are you, mate?
Very well. It's kind of halfway through the week for me now because obviously Fridays, it's the Easter weekend, so
Are you off Friday as well?
I'm off Friday, off Monday as well, so it's
Part-timer.
4 days I'm off, so I'm looking forward to it. Before we get into it, I'd just like to give a shout out, Carney, to me and Scotia met David, who was from London in the Viceroy, and Malcolm, who was all the way from Vancouver Island in Canada.
Wow.
He didn't come all the way to the Viceroy from Vancouver Island just to see us. They did come to the Viceroy to see us, and they kindly bought us a pint. Said some kind words about the podcast as well. So it's always mad, Carney, when you speak to folk from all corners of the world. But Vancouver Island's a new one, so I've not heard of anyone that listened to us from there. So that was a good one.
That's bonkers, yeah. Vancouver. Had Dad left by this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a way. So they owe me one, so I'm going to need to message a guy
yeah.
in Vancouver and tell me he owes me a pint. Brilliant. Yeah. I know, that's class. That's absolutely brilliant. And Scott Gemmell, how's it going, mate?
Yeah, evening, guys. Yeah, not too bad. Thought the week was kind of going to drag in until the old firm sort of be built up to that, but obviously today Rangers had other ideas.
Yeah, not half, yes. Quickly scattered together everything after work while feeding the wee man and gathered together some notes to do the pod. So yeah, before we get into all of it, and we will, a shameless plug to support the podcast to reach the next level. You can join this channel for as little as 99p a month. You can also buy the podcast a coffee and join the Coffee Buying Legend membership via buymeacoffee.com. Thank you so much to all our channel members so far and the people that are moving up to our next level supporter as well. It keeps happening. Absolutely brilliant, honestly, absolutely brilliant that you want to continue to support us, and of course all our coffee buyers, all our Coffee Buy Legend members. Really do appreciate the support you give the podcast. All the links for everything I've just said are in the description for this podcast. Don't know why my voice went all squeaky and high there, but we'll just gloss over it and move on. First off, we'll obviously start with the news that broke today, that Douglas Park steps down as Rangers chairman and John Bennett steps up. A statement on the club website said Douglas Park, who has been chairman of Rangers International Football Club plc for 3 years, has decided to step down from his role. The RIFC board unanimously agreed to install the current vice chairman John Bennett as the club's new chairman. Douglas became chairman of Rangers at the end of March 2020, assuming the role in the most challenging of circumstances. He became chairman at the onset of the COVID pandemic and went on to oversee Rangers winning its 55th Scottish League title, reach a major European final for only the fifth time in the club's 150-year history, and lift the Scottish Cup for the first time in over a decade. Douglas also led significant investments in the infrastructure at both Ibrox and Auchenhowie. Douglas said, "It's been a great honour to serve the club as a director and chairman. During my 8 years in office, we endured extraordinary pressures. I am glad we have stabilised and strengthened the club, and it's now time for me to hand over the baton to a new chairman for the next stage of the club's development. I look forward to continuing to attend matches supporting the team, and I wish John and all at Rangers Football Club the very best." New chairman John Bennett said, "On behalf of all my colleagues and indeed the entire Rangers family, I want to sincerely to thank Douglas for his 8 years of service over the last 3 years. He led the club during exceptionally challenging times. It's easy for me to say it's a source of a great comfort that Douglas, although no longer a board member, will be by our side to support us in our relentless pursuit of success." Ali, there was wee flutterings about it flying about the group chat a few hours ago. There was apparently something getting called today. Now, first off, I will go on record myself and say that I do thank Douglas Park for the effort, his efforts, his investment, his control of the club. He did wrestle back the control of the club and inevitably did lead us to the 55th league title, the one that we've said meant more to us than probably any than there ever has been. So I have to credit the man for that. I've had my criticisms of him, of course I have. I think many have, but ultimately I think he'll be remembered fondly, Ali. But I think even at this, mate, this wasn't a decision that's been made overnight. This has obviously been in the background and on the go for a wee while, but still a wee bit of a eye raise. But there has been calls for change, mate.
Yeah, when it was in a group chat about something happening potentially, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought it might be something else, but at the same time, I wasn't shocked, to be honest, when I heard this come out. Like you say, same as you can. He's been there. He's overseen us get the title back. He's overseen us during COVID get to a major European final as well. So you've got to give him credit there. It's a difficult one. We don't know much about Douglas. He doesn't speak to the fans, Douglas Park, so we don't really know him. I've heard more of John Bennett than I have of Douglas Park, to be honest. And I think John Bennett speaks quite well, to be honest. So interesting going forward whether he will speak to the fans more than, like, can he speak any less, to be honest, because Douglas Park never spoke to us. But I just get a feeling now Douglas Parks kind of wants to probably focus on his main business. Step away from Rangers. He's kind of put us in an even keel. We need to move forward now, Carney. We need to move forward. You're talking about bringing success to Rangers there in that kind of statement there. That's what we need to do on a regular basis. Now, it's all right winning the league, but we need to go and win trophies regularly because that's what Rangers are built on. So I thank him the same as you. But yeah, it's the first start, and I think of a bit of change for Rangers going forward in terms of people who I think will leave at major sort of levels in Rangers.
Yeah, Ali made a point there, Scotia, about, and obviously give your initial thoughts to the news today, but he made a point of, I know more about John Bennett than I do Douglas Park. Now, call me a pessimist, I don't think that's a coincidence. I think this is probably something that Douglas Park has thought out in the long term. He's a savvy businessman, so he's probably thought out in the long term. He'll know how many years he was aiming for and how long he should have been doing it, how long he thinks he should be in charge for. So I get all of that. So yeah, am I being too pessimistic there, or there's probably something in that? There's a reason that we've heard more from John than we have from Douglas Park.
Yeah, listen, Douglas Park, I think, seems to be come across as a very quiet, private individual. I know it's been a slight criticism that maybe the fans have maybe levelled at Douglas Park because he does take such a big backseat, then he's not there front and centre all the time, which I think, given the type of chairmans we've had in the past, even the King most recently, he was obviously very vocal. And then we go back to like the Murray years again, another person who was very vocal all the time, even the times when Murray said that it was kind of taking a step back from things, it wouldn't be too long until it was back out. So, yeah, Douglas Park, yeah, he was a very private individual, which I've said before, I didn't mind him being like that, but it needed someone below him to kind of step up to that plate, and perhaps we didn't really get it. With the news breaking, I mean, we've only kind of had the news about over an hour and a half now, massive timestamp there. But so you're still kind of processing your thoughts. So I'm still shocked, but not shocked, if you know what I mean. I think more the sort of the timing of it, maybe expected it to be something that would get done during the off season. It's not usually something that happens mid season, I wouldn't say. So not overly shocked. I think an awful lot of the things that Douglas Park has done for us as well, considering, like you mentioned, some of the stuff there, overseeing us during like the COVID pandemic hitting. I think as fans, we don't appreciate what that would have done in terms to the business and things like that, to have to oversee that. And then obviously, I think in the statement it get read out as well, like all the wee investments that have get put into Ibrox and Auchenhowie since Park, even before he stepped up as chairman in, what was it, March 2020, you said there. So even before when he was part of the kind of board there, the money that these guys have been putting into the club to improve wee things that, again, as fans, when things aren't going well on the football pitch, you probably don't appreciate as much, but it's much needed investment because we all know that. Certainly, I've not been up to Auchenhowie in a long time these days, but you could see Ibrox was becoming a wee bit dilapidated in the stuff that they have been doing. It's impressive, but ultimately, does that matter if things on the football pitch aren't going your way? You probably don't appreciate it as much. But I, like you and like Ali, appreciative of what Douglas Park has done for the club for his time here. Wish him all the best. And like Ali says, probably go and focus on his main business. But it kind of leads into John Bennett, and that's a big task in his hands, John Bennett, because there still is discontent among the fans. And like I say, the news is only just broken, so this is one of these ones where our thoughts and opinions will probably get shaped over the next few days as more and more sort of comes out from this.
The tweet that came out with Rangers with the club statement, the first comment I clicked on it and read in was Ross Wilson next. I was like, for sake, man, like give it a minute, like literally give it a minute. You can't just wipe everybody out. But that's you're right though, because there is still discontent within the fans, and I suppose we've all been calling as well for a revamp of the squad. This is probably true that the revamp of the board needs to happen as well. And am I shocked it's happened right now? Probably not. I mean, again, the businessman mind of Douglas Park, we're into a new tax year, all this kind of stuff. He'll maybe want to be getting these ducks in a row for different reasons. We all know how businesses run, so it might be something down to that. That's the only thing I can think about why the timing would be right now and not in a couple of months. Yeah, Ali, there's no great doubt that Bennett's he's taken over the club in a pretty substantial footing. It's the club's stable. There's absolutely no doubt. Obviously, Douglas Park has invested a lot of his own money, which I will be forever grateful for as well, because I don't have the money to be able to do something like that. I wish I could. But he's obviously invested a lot of his own money into the club, and yeah, we've seen a lot of improvements and stuff, but there's still, in my opinion, some way to go. We were mentioning that I think it was Saturday actually after the game. We were walking down the stairs, and some of the bits of the club deck stairs, you're like, it's in dire need to get done up. You can see like it's not looking particularly fresh. It needs a wee bit of work. But John Bennett, mate, it is what it is as far as I'm concerned with Bennett. I'm going to be interested to see what his philosophy is as well, in terms of how he's going to settle this. The shouting of change from so many angles of the Rangers support, how he manages his way through this, because ultimately it's not all going to happen. The change isn't always going to happen. And Scotia did make the point as well, because we're not winning on the park, it does make think we are winning, but we've not won anything, and it doesn't look like we're going to win the league either. But I'm interested to see what he decides to do. But no doubt, mate, there's still a job to do.
He's got a huge job to do. Interesting to see what he says. I'd like to think he'll do an interview on Rangers TV.
That you'll have to pay for. That you'll have to pay for. You'll
get your MyJers points for that, Carney. So
yeah, that's
there
true.
You go. That'll get you up the MyJers with that if you subscribe to that. But I think he'll probably do a lengthy interview on our TV, I'd imagine, within the next, probably this week, probably it'll come out, it'll drop, I'd imagine. And his views going forward with Rangers. Yeah, it's a big task he's got to oversee. Like you said, at the stadium, the club deck will be set in particular, you mentioned there. You look to the ceiling, Carney, when you're in the concourse, and it's dilapidated. For a sort of a way back when they created the club deck, was supposed to be one of their sort of their main areas. It's quite an expensive area to sit in, but it is dilapidated, along with other areas of the ground. But on the park is where it counts for Rangers fans going forward. These other things that they say, that's a lot of money. You've seen what they've done with the roofs, etc. Blue Sky Lounge is going to bring in money. Esmond House, where we were at the weekend, Carney, you can see, just being a fan in there, that is a money generator going forward.
Definitely.
But he's to oversee us get this title back, Carney, ultimately, and get back to winning trophies. Until that happens, that's when the fans, I think, will settle down. And like you say, as you go into Twitter, the next one's Ross Wilson out, which I can't see that happening. I think he'll have this summer window going forward with Beale, so don't expect that to happen. But I'll be interested to hear what he says when he comes out. But I do like the way he speaks, Bennett. I've heard him a couple of times, and I do like the way he speaks, but ultimately it's on the park for me going forward, what we do.
Yeah, no, 100%. Scotia, you get anything else to add, mate, before I move on?
Yeah, no, I mean, on Bennett, I do think he will be more vocal than Park was, because like Ali says there, when we were all kind of back in, what was it, around about September time, when we were all asking for the club to do stuff, come out and say something, John Bennett was one of the people that came out and actually did say some stuff. Now, with him going into the chairman role, it'd be quite interesting to see how that communication with the fans progresses. I'd like to see it being a wee bit more proactive rather than reactive. So certainly hope that. But like Ali says, anytime that John Bennett has spoken, he seems to come across pretty decently. But it's one of these ones, only time will tell, really. You just need to wait and see what they do.
Yeah, again, I'd say everybody, I think, but even Ryan would thank Douglas Park for what he done. I'd say there is points to his tenure that I didn't agree with, and his silence was particularly frustrating for me at times. But at the end of the day, the guy's got us in a steady footing now as a club, and yeah, we wish him all the best in the future, and we also wish Bennett all the best as the new Rangers chairman. So from that to this, Ali Clancy's the ref for the whole firm, mate. Yippee!
I seen that. Uh,
Oh. Well,
see,
the good
Clancy.
thing is, mate. Good thing is what will happen now is Rangers should get 5 penalties on Saturday
Well,
if you take a green perspective on the way the refereeing works in this country. Then we're in for 5 penalties, mate.
I was going to bring that up. Clancy, I remember when we beat Celtic at Parkhead a couple of seasons ago and Katic scored the goal. In fact, you watched it, I mean. In fact, we all watched it, I mean, I remember that. And that is probably the worst refereeing performance I've ever seen from a referee. It was shocking. And I mean shocking. And we won that game that day, so it wasn't as if we get beat. I mean, I think he tried his best, to be honest, but it was shocking. But like you say, VAR's here now. So any decisions, VAR is there. I mean, most of the referees in Scotland are poor. He's right up there as probably one of the poorest referees. Not just with us, with other teams as well. I've seen him. Yeah. I've seen him referee other games, and you've seen the decisions. Some of it's baffling, but VAR is there in this Old Firm on Saturday. But although Clancy's there, I'm not getting ready to use that as an excuse. If we get beat on Saturday, we need to do our talk in the park on Saturday, regardless who the referee is. But Clancy's a referee, along with the rest of them. Isn't he great? But was a shock to see Clancy there. No. The only thing is the Celtic fans will say, well, Nick Walsh is operating the VAR, and they don't like Nick Walsh. So they've kind of balanced it a wee bit with that. So.
Yeah, they don't like him because somebody photoshopped a Rangers tracksuit topper on top of him, and they all believe it's real. Scotia, I'm not using it as an excuse either, but this is as games come in the Scottish game, it doesn't get bigger than this. Obviously, it's not close as if it's going to decide the title for either club, if you like. I mean, obviously, if Celtic win it, then it's pretty much a formality for them to win the league. But this is a game that could really reignite a charge for Rangers if you want. I mean, you could be broadcasting it that, you could be advertising it like that. It's kind of make or break for us in terms of the season. To put Clancy in charge, though, mate, my biggest thing about it is I believe most of the refs in Scotland are awful. I mean, they really are terrible. But Clancy is bad because Clancy guesses at things, and I can't. Like he's unaware of being able to keep himself up with the game, and he just makes rash decisions and guesses. Okay, VAR might be there, mate, but that doesn't matter for bookings and free kick decisions.
No, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there, that it speaks of a bigger kind of issue with the quality of refereeing in Scotland, because let's face it, regardless of who get named as the referee for the game at the weekend, there would have been kind of grumbles and moans for any kind of decisions that made in the past. But yes, I do agree that Clancy's probably one of the poorer ones. But I mean, ultimately, the way I look at it is, it's the referees are they're poor. It's not any bias from the referees to certain teams. I don't believe that for 1 second. Maybe wrong, but I honestly don't believe that for 1 second. It's the quality referee in Scotland which isn't good enough. VAR is in, yes, but my worry over the last few weeks now, and I think I mentioned it not too long ago, is that the referees that I've seen, some of them waiting until they get mentioned in their ear to go and check. They won't do something for the fear of then looking like a
safety blanket for them, Scotia.
Yeah, and I don't like that. I would rather they look a bit like the fool, and then they can correct their decision rather than waiting and then doing it that way. But it's the wider issue of the quality refs in Scotland. And we mentioned this when we were talking about VAR last year when we knew it was going to come in. It was one of the things Ryan certainly said as well, is VAR might be okay, but it's the referees. It's the quality of refereeing, which that's not changed, unfortunately. And I think, the wider discussion on referees probably does need to be we should probably start looking to get them full time, because that's the only way that they're going to get better. I believe if they've got time to go and actually train, and rather than working 9 to 5 Monday to Thursday or Monday to Friday, then get the games at the weekend. I think that's the way forward. But like I say, any ref that get given, we would find a way to complain. If it was Colin, we'd find a way to complain. It's just the way we are. So yeah, let's just hope the game at the weekend's a very comfortable win for Rangers, and there's no content. In fact, I would like to be there to be a wee contentious decision, because that's always fun when that happens.
Yeah, I want 5 penalties to Rangers. Of course I do. That's what makes it what it's all about. But yeah, you're right. It's just this wider problem. The wider problem. I mean, you could have gave Ian Black the best equipment in the world in order to train as a footballer, but he's still a terrible football player. It's one of those things you can't really change that. So unfortunately, we're going to need to live with being Clancy. But let's just hope that isn't too controversial. But again, it is. It just always raised the fact that it is Clancy is raising the fact that the standards of refereeing and the ultimate desire for Scottish football to watch itself burn sometimes is just very frustrating. Quickly, I'm just going to do something here. Kevin Clancy is the best referee in Scotland. Now, the reason I'm doing that is I'm going to clip that after this, and I'm going to put it out on our social medias just so Kevin Clancy sees it and he thinks, they boys, they Rangers boys, they're good lads. They're good lads. I'll give them that penalty. We'll wait and see what comes with Saturday. Somebody's going to clip that anyway. That's going to somebody's definitely. There'll be a comment in there from someone that will go, I can't believe you said that about Kevin Clancy. Yeah, of course. Right, anyway, we'll move on to the Dundee United game at the weekend there. It's an easy 2-0 win. Let's not lie about it. After watching the game back, it was far more comfortable. I didn't think it was uncomfortable at the time. It was bordering on a training exercise for Rangers. It really was. It was a very comfortable 2-0 win, and a kind of an easy day at the office for us. McGregor making his 500th appearance for the club. Mentioned it before, Ali, but it's a tremendous achievement and a clean sheet, mate, which will have pleased them.
Yeah, you get man of the match as well. The sponsors.
I actually don't think he'd done anything, though. But I get why he'd obviously.
He made a save near the end when Dundee finally come up the park, and it was an easy save. But I've said it about McGregor, 500 appearances for Rangers, outstanding. To make that amount of appearances for Rangers, especially as a modern day footballer now as well, you don't really see that. So. Fantastic for McGregor. He's 41 years of age. I know we hear the rumblings of he doesn't know what he's going to do until he's going to make his mind up in the summer. But I'm sorry, Alan, I love you to bits, but I'd rather you were sitting in the box in front of me and not in the park. And next year you can sit there all you want and shout at me. But we'll see what happens with that in the summer. I think that's a bit of tongue-in-cheek. I don't think he'll stay on next year. And would they want to stay on as a backup? I think we need to move on, to be honest. But fantastic for McGregor. Fantastic to reach the 500.
Yeah, Scotia, it's not to be taken lightly, reaching 500 appearances for this club. It really isn't. It just cements his legacy, really.
Yeah, like we said on the show on Friday night when we were discussing it, it's a fantastic achievement. And yeah, I mean, the weekend there, like Ali says, he had that wee save. There was also, I think the only time that he'd done any more than that was when Dundee United kind of had a half chance from out just past the 18-yard box that he was not happy. I think Ryan Jack was one of the players he wasn't very happy at, because he came off his line and started screaming at them because he'd given the boy space. So I never change in that regard, Alan McGregor. But yeah, like McGregor, or like Ali, going forward with McGregor, I do think it's time for him to hang up the gloves, at least at Rangers. But I did say this last season, and look where we are. So we'll just watch this space.
Watch this space, and I'm in agreement. I heard the wee snippet as well about him saying that he'll make the judge in summer. Like, Alan, genuinely, mate, we all love you. I love you so much, mate. I think you've been tremendous. If you want to just do interviews for the club, I'm all for it, literally all for it. But no, I think it is now time. It's time for him to move on. But what an absolute legend of this football club. Truly a legend of this football club, and he will be fondly remembered when the day comes that he does hang up hang up his gloves. And I'm just hoping that he's the new captain on like a Question of Sport or something like that. Surely he's going to be.
That would be tremendous.
How good would that be? Honestly, some quality telly. I would actually watch Question of Sport again if it was that. If he was a captain on that, that would be absolutely great. He'd probably just be sitting there half cut.
They can bring Coisty back while they're at it.
Yeah, Coisty back as well. Yeah, back in the good old days, that was when it was really good. I've not watched that in years. Sue Barker still doing that? No, surely no.
Is it not Paddy McGuinness that does it now?
Aye, of course, that's because Paddy McGuinness does everything, doesn't he? Yeah, aye. Yeah, no, I've not watched it in years. But anyway, I'm going off on one there. We'll get back to the football. We didn't concede, which is always a welcome start, I think, the way things have been. Scotia, I'll come back to you, mate. First half, not a lot to be excited about before we scored. It was a bit of a slog before we scored.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you used the word there, routine, earlier, and that's precisely what it was. This is a sort of game that I've seen at Ibrox on numerous occasions. Yeah, it was a bit. I didn't really get you up out the seat very often during that game. I didn't think Kenny it had that mid to end season type of game. The only way you're happy with that type of game really is when you know that you're kind of comfortably looking to win the league, or you're in a better title chase than we are at the moment. They done what they needed to do, and I think that's all you can ask for them at the moment. Excuse me.
Yeah, Ali, when the goal did come, it was an absolute peach of a goal, to be fair. It was a great move. Goulson fires the ball into Cantwell. Cantwell, first touch, under pressure, he's kind of falling as he clips it round the corner into Tillman's path, and Tillman buries it, mate. It was a real lovely goal. And I think the biggest bit of that goal that I loved, after watching the game back, there is him and Alfie charging in from that right hand side as if they know that this is all as many bodies in the box. It's bound to fall to one of us, and I think that's going to be really key going forward for breaking down these high blocks. Is when we are getting the opportunity to play wee flick balls, to play clever passes, there has to be not just one, probably two players there to hope and to get on the end of it.
Yeah, no, it was a great goal. It woke the guy up beside me, because the guy who usually sits beside me usually just leaves his seat and Scotia comes down and sits. But I noticed his seat subbed it, because I said to my pal, the seat beside me available. So I knew there was going to be somebody beside me, and there was. And the guy beside me fell asleep the whole of the first half and was woken up by that goal. So,
are you sure it wasn't Scotia?
Not Scotia, no? Scotia, no, definitely wasn't Scotia. He had long hair, actually, Scotia, but it wasn't you. That kind of just shows how poor the first half was in terms of enjoyment.
Excitement levels.
But I mean, it's difficult when teams like Dundee United come. Let's be honest, Dundee United, I think I said in the post, I didn't see the point of Dundee United on Saturday. I know they're down the bottom of the league and everything, canny, but they showed nothing. And on that performance, I think they deserve to go down Dundee United, because I thought it was quite embarrassing. Even for their travelling support coming to witness that, I don't think they really offered anything. But it's difficult to play against these teams that just don't want to play football. And you need clever players like a Cantwell, like a Tillman, that can unlock doors. And Cantwell's one. Great fudge ball by Goldson, and the wee ball around the corner. And there's Tillman, who slots it away. Does he really miss any shots, Tillman? If you look at it, when he shoots, usually puts it at the back of the net. Hence why he's got a song. But no, it was a great goal, and we deserved it. I think you said Carm had like 80% possession or something, so we deserved to go and win off at least. Yeah,
we definitely did, Scotia. I think I could be. You can maybe correct me if I'm wrong here. I was listening to the Flagship this morning when I was driving to work, and I was still half sleeping, admittedly. But I think Ross said a stat like he's now got more. He's now gave us more in terms of a season than Aribo or Kent ever did in a season. Malik Tillman, he's talking about obviously there. The boy's he's just flourishing more and more. We see him.
Yeah, well, in this season he's got 12 goals and 5 assists, which I don't know Kent and Aribo's off the top of my head, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's what.
Kent's never had 5 goals in a season, has he? Well, maybe he did actually.
Maybe
John
6 or 7,
possibly.
Yeah. But certainly, I mean, it's the type of player that we've been screaming out for. That kind of player from midfield to attack to where he kind of plays that'll contribute goals on top of what your strikers are producing, because we've been really lacked that for a long time. I think Arfield done it at points, but he was on like the way down in terms of what he could offer there, I think, just in terms of the age that he was getting to. So it's really good to see that coming through from Tillman. I thought he was brilliant the weekend. And just in a wee point there that Ali mentioned, see the way that Dundee United set up. I know you guys said in the podcast that you did, or the podcast on Friday night, that you do probably expect them to sit deep in. I was a wee bit surprised by how deep they did sit in, because it was totally
it was
two
9 men
banks
behind
of
the ball.
five, and and then Fletcher was at times. Fletcher was, he was quite far back the pitch as well. So I was a wee bit surprised with Dundee United setting up like they did. But it's something that we've had to break down numerous times over the last 45 or 6 years, and with players like Tillman, they're the type of players that can break that down, and the stats kind of prove that.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree, and I think there is patience is becoming more prevalent among the support, because we believe that this team will score goals, because under Bale we are scoring goals, so you can see why the kind of patience might be growing. But it is one of those games as well that, and we will come on to the lack of ruthlessness that we do have, but it is one of those games that you would expect Rangers to be very comfortable in a game like that. Dundee United they're a bad team. They really are a bad team. My heart bleeds for them, said no Rangers fan ever. I could not care less. But they're in a bad state. They really were not great. Kent had a shot that hit the bar. Would have been literally one of the goals of the season. It was a tremendous strike. He was very unlucky there. And then Davies actually got us out a bit of dodge. Connor Goldson gets beat far too easily at one point in the halfway line, and Dundee United break forward, and Davies a kind of unauthorised block, but a tremendous block at that. Scotia, I wanted to ask your opinions on him so far. I think he's a wee bit of an unsung hero right now. I think he's been brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm still completely not on board. I wouldn't say that. That's far too harsh. But there's still wee bits of his game that I look at and I'm not overly convinced with. But he has been really good, and it's that settled partnership that he does have with Goldson that's proved pivotal to that. It'll be interesting to see, because again, this was another game, and you might come on to it, where we kind of experimented a wee bit with the back end, our defence, certainly. But no, Davis has been good, and he is starting to win me round more than he is, although I do have to say I'm still a wee bit unconvinced. Just some things that he does that I just feel like you could do that better. I'm holding him up against Helander, which I know you'll love, but obviously Helander's not going to be with us, is he? So no, I think Davis has done really well, and like I say, he's starting to kind of win me round even more as the games come in.
Yeah, I like him, because if there's danger, he puts the ball into the stand. I do not grudge any centre half doing that. It's one of the things that I always want to see. If there's danger and you're not sure, put the ball out, mate. And I think he's been solid since he came in, and obviously the partnership is helping.
Yeah, well, look at the winning run we've gone on since Beale's come in.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is down to Beale, but a lot of it's down to when Goldson come back and settled back in that partnership with Davies. So yeah, naturally left-sided. I think he's been really good. I think Scotia's maybe been slightly harsh on him.
It's because he likes Helander, mate.
I know, and he likes Jack Simpson as well. Remember Jack Simpson? But no, I like him. He's a kind of no-nonsense defender. He can still play with the ball with his feet as well, Carney. He can ping passes too.
He's not scared to fire the ball into the danger bit.
He can do the Hollywood, as I say, what Goldson does all the time, and he's brilliant at that. No, I've been impressed with him. I think he's been really good. I think at the weekend, I mean, it was slim pickings at the weekend, I thought, to be honest, but Tillman was man of the match. I thought he was just behind them probably on the park. I thought he was very good, but I'm quite happy with the two of them going forward next season. Yeah. I think we will look at bringing another left-sided centre half in next season, but I'd have no grumbles with the two of them next season going forward.
Yeah, obviously we did experiment a wee bit at the back at one point. As I say, John Lundstrom was the furthest back player. That seemed to be really irritating me, and I don't really know why, but it was annoying me because Lundstrom was the furthest back. I couldn't really figure it out. And obviously we came on to shoot in the second half, and he came in, and there was like this sort of back three thing happening. And yeah, it's interesting to see what Beale very much. I think they played the game the right way on Saturday because once he seen what Dundee United were going to do for the first half hour, he was like, well, I can literally do what I want here. They're not really going to be, they would need to catch us out in order to score because they didn't really offer anything at all. So it'll be interesting to see where the 3-5-2 thing goes forward. That's probably a conversation for Friday as we come on to preview the Old Firm. Second half, we made it 2 early on, 10 minutes so into the second half. We killed the game again. Tillman provides a goal. Kent with a wee flick off to him. Tillman gets his shot away. Bit of a deflection. Keeper should maybe do better, but I'm not caring. It's 2-0. Game's completely over. Cantwell was involved as well to get the ball to Kent. And Ali, it brings me on to the partnership I wanted to discuss between Cantwell and Tillman. Is this something the club should be focusing on? Should we be, or Beale should be focusing on even? Should we be trying to get these two players to play together as much as they can? Because their movement, their kind of football and brain, mate, both of them are, they're very well skilled in that department. And I like what I see when I'm seeing the two of them together. There is a shout to build the team around they two.
100%. I'd build a team around them. They're clever. They're far too clever for some of the players that are currently in our squad at the moment because they think they're always 2 stages ahead all the time. That they're so clever. The two of them have got a good understanding. I even think Raskin falls into that area as well. Kent as well. I think Kent's. I know you've said in this, Karen, and I agree. Kent for me gets a hard time by Rangers fans. Probably because he maybe doesn't score enough goals or whatever, but I think he's on the same wavelength as well. They can interchange as well, Cantwell and Tillman. I do like Tillman further forward, closer to the striker. I think Chris Boyd said something today, or was it Barry Ferguson, saying he could possibly play him as a false 9 going forward. Even at the weekend, scores goals, similar with Joe Aribo in that run in the Europa League.
Yep.
I like him in that area, and he's got 12 goals, as Scotia says. But no, the two of them, for me, if we can get Tillman tied down next season, you build a team around the 2 players because they're clever players. And that's the calibre of player we need moving forward next season to try and get the title back. So, 100%.
Yeah, Scotia, I think as well with Cantwell and Tillman, Raskin as well, even thrown into that, as Ali said. Once we get these 5 names that Beale says that he's provided Ross Wilson with, surely if they were bringing anywhere near the calibre of player that they 3 are, that we've seen so far anyway, then we're in for a pretty excitement revamp.
Oh yeah, I think so. There's been a few names that we've been linked with in the sort of midfield area over the last few days that have really whetted my appetite in terms of the names that get mentioned. Your likes of Gilmore and people like that. Like if you get players like that in to play alongside, like you say, your Tillmans, your Cantwells, and your Raskins, that's a very, very intelligent football team. Which you always like to see that intelligence playing because Morelos, I would suggest, on occasion is up there. Maybe not this season so much, but when Morelos was on it, you could see his football intelligence, the way he was playing with other players that had that kind of same wavelength with him. An awful lot of the times, him and Kent would link up really well. But no, Tillman and Cantwell look fantastic. Like Ali says there, probably can interchange, but Tillman, I think when he was with Bayern Munich Youth, he did get played as a striker on occasion, and I know we'll speak about this on Friday, but in that 3-5-2 system, a Tillman kind of up there with an Alfie or a Cholak right now. Yeah, I wouldn't. That's not out of the realms of possibility, I don't think.
Yeah, that's definitely. Will Goldie would probably dive you, but I don't even know who's hosting on Friday. But there's your homework. Whoever's
not me.
So it's not. I don't think it's me. I don't think it's me.
It'll be me or Ryan.
Yeah, yourself or Ryan.
That over the next few days.
Yeah, but actually, Beale's hinted that the conversation has happened between him and Tillman, that he's obviously keen on him staying at the club. Tillman, by all reports is quite keen to stay at the club also. That's all going to depend on what Thomas Tuchel wants to do at Bayern Munich now that he's took over there. But well worth the money, in my opinion. We've all said it. I think that we would all absolutely sign Tillman, because I think the club only make profit out of it. Just another bit in the second half I want to speak about before we kind of wrap up was the lack of ruthlessness, if that's a word, Ali. We broke forward 4 against 2, 5 against 2 at 2 separate points in that game, and we didn't even get a shot on target. And you're like, right, don't get me wrong, we'd made a number of changes. The formation was slightly tweaked, but we're going to need to get better at that and quite soon.
Yeah, I've used the word powder puff the last couple of weeks in this podcast, and that's what I think we are. I said to Ryan about Čolak, would he strike fear into me as a striker? I said no, and then Ryan flung it back to me and went, well, does Morelos and the rest of them? And I says, none of them strike fear into me. I says, only one Sakala, to a point, not in terms of fear, but he's just so unpredictable. You just don't know what you're going to get for the guy. But on Saturday, the wrong option was chosen several times breaking up that park. There was the one from Scott Wright that put it on a plate for Čolak. What the boy wants, that's what he's all about. Made a mess of it. It's worrying going forward, because I think we are powder puff, but it's an interesting dilemma for Beale on Saturday what he does, because the two of them, if you want to say Čolak and Morelos, are shit out of form, the two of them. They really are. And I look at it, I just don't think Čolak's suited to go into Parkhead. So I know we'll come into this on Friday. I don't want to go down that road there, but
that's okay, mate. It's Old Firm week. I'll let you away.
I know. I just think they're so shit out of form, the two of them. I thought Morelos, it was all right in patches on Saturday, but he had one shot, and that's from outside the box I can really remember. That's was it,
pretty much, mate.
And Čolak come on and just looked like he's looked the last couple of games. He's like it's a shout of fun. It's a worry for me, and it's something. It's one of the major things we need to address in the summer is that front line, because we need to be ruthless. You look at Tillman with 12 goals, and we're praising him, rightfully so. But Tillman should be getting 12 goals from where he is. Ryan Kent should be getting goals. Sakala is getting goals, and whoever plays through the middle should be getting a barload of goals for Rangers, the amount of chances we create. So it's a major thing next season for me to address that going forward, because I don't like saying it, but you look across the other side, and Ryan's harped on with this. They've got goals all over that team in the front line, and we don't, unfortunately.
No, it doesn't seem to be there as of yet. Scotia, I don't want to jump too far forward and kind of speak about Saturday, but it is a conundrum. There's no doubt about it that we're kind of thinking about. I think statisticians might prove me wrong here, but I don't think Čolak's particularly effective when he comes off the bench. I think he has to start the game. I think he struggles to get in the game if he comes off the bench. Maybe as teams tires, he might have got a few goals that way. I could be wrong in that, but Morelos was okay. Some of his link-up play was decent enough. He had a header attempt actually as well that was not on target though, but it was again the right idea, and he shot from outside the box. It's a simple save for the keeper. Right now I feel like there's quite a few players that are trying too hard. Maybe Morelos is, maybe Morelos isn't. It's a hard one to judge, but there's no doubt going forward, mate, that we do have a problem with our number 10, 9, whatever it is. Number 9. Is it a number 9? I don't know. Hybrid 10, 9, whatever.
No. Yeah, I mean, over the course of the season, both Morelos and Čolak, they've had a pretty up and down season, both of them. When Beale came in, Morelos started kind of looking as if he was getting back to a decent level. Čolak obviously started off the season really well, but then fell away a wee bit when things weren't going great for Gio. Then obviously had his injury, came back in, and it was only about 3 weeks ago that we were playing Hibs and we were praising Čolak and things like that for a couple of performances he puts in, and now we're in this situation coming up into an Old Firm weekend, and then both our strikers are probably, they're both going through wee dips at the moment. Otherwise you would like them to be a wee bit more, and the term you use there is ruthless. But this is a this is something that I probably levelled at Rangers and many Rangers teams over the years, because I don't think we ever have been. I think the last time that we were properly ruthless in recent history was probably when Warburton was the manager, and we would have been in the championship then. So you're playing against a lesser level of opposition. I think it's always been an issue, but that Rangers seem to always be comfortable going 2 goals up, 3 goals up at a maximum. They don't really push on and kill teams off, which is something that we've all been screaming for. And I think doing something like that would allay kind of some of the fears. But unfortunately, if we had, apart from obviously the 2 Hearts games and the Hibs game, we've not really, I don't think we've scored more than 4 goals in a game this season.
No, I can't think of any off the top of my head. No, I can't think of any off the top of my head. Look, we're a fickle bunch, honestly. See if we won every game of the season 2 or 3-0, I would be very, very happy at that. I'd be very, very happy. But it's true, because we want more. We want more. We should be, and I do think there's a certain element of it back. I think Beale has brought back maybe not the fear factor, but the thought process in the manager's head that are playing against us. Every other team, probably apart from Celtic, that if we go at them here, they're probably going to get at us, and we might struggle to get anything out of the game. But it is something like that. It was just a wee frustration I think I had, where I thought we should have been 5-0 up easy on Saturday. And it's not the first time Beale have said it after the game either, that we should be scoring more goals. It definitely needs addressed. It definitely does need addressed, because we're definitely not showing a ruthless streak at all. But it's something that we spoke about many times. So quickly to finish up, we'll have a wee laugh at the ref. What was it? Don, I always go to say Dom Johnson. It's not, it's Don Robertson, isn't it? Dom Johnson's a trigger happy TV guy. Don Robertson. Morelos is one, Ali. Penalty for you?
Yes. There's one worse than that, Carney. The linesman, the one where Tav.
I'm coming to that.
All right, sorry. I thought you were just doing that one as the Morelos, right?
No.
I thought that was that, right? So I'll wait for you. That was a penalty. I looked back at that. I watched the highlights on Sky, Carney, and I seen that. And I went, how was that not a penalty, by the way? How was that not? Yes, it was a penalty for me.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's a penalty. No idea why VAR's not getting involved in that. Again, Scottish football officiating at its best. Scotia, penalty for you?
Yeah, I screamed for it at the time. I've seen it back, and yeah, I'm probably still of the opinion that I could have seen that being given.
Yeah, I think when you see the players' reactions around them, that all the Rangers players are going, how's that not a penalty? Like, that makes you think that it's a penalty. Ridiculous decision there, but not as ridiculous as James Tavernier's booking. I mean, what are we doing here, gentlemen? What are we doing? Blatantly, that linesman again has been found at a bus stop and asked, do you want a job for the day? Do you want to come and hold this flag and wave it about? It's not even a free kick at that. He goes down like he's been shot by a sniper and he books him. Ali, this is just, again, one of those Scottish football things hating itself to death.
Shocking. Even at the time, when I sat up in the club deck, I know I'm that end, but even at the time I was like, he's not even touched him. And the he's right in front of him, and he couldn't be any closer to the linesman. But like you say, Carney, these linesmen that come to Ibrox are a waste of space. I could do it because they're just guessing half the time. And they've got a 50-50 chance of getting it right. So sometimes they look decent. But I was shocking. And see, when I seen it back in the telly, Carney, terrible. There's actually a bit of me, Carney, right, that wishes the referee had sent Tav off for that, right? And then VAR would have intervened. And they would have seen just how much they look idiots, because it was shocking. And Tav's picked up a yellow card for that. And you can't even appeal that yellow card either. You can't appeal it, I don't think. So
no,
it's shocking. And it just sums up. I mean, we talked about the standard of the refereeing earlier on, but it sums it up. No wonder Tav walked away going, whatever. The only good thing I would say in that is Scott Wright banjoed that boy right in the face with the ball later on. So he got his just deserves later on.
Yeah, I think he got a hell of a boon when he came off as well. Because I'm sure he was subbed. Scotia, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? Like, if that's I say it all the time, and I don't want to sound like I'm in a tinfoil hat. If Alfredo Morelos does that, reacts the way Dundee United player does, it's scandal all over the papers.
Aye, no, you're not wrong there. That's a whole bloody other discussion in itself, and we could be here for weeks and weeks discussing
Todd Cantwell.
Alfie's
Todd Cantwell just a couple of weeks before.
Oh, I Todd Cantwell as well, yeah.
But, that one, that one for that, like that's one that I could understand the ref kind of looking as if he thinks something that's happened because he's so far away from it, because he's maybe blocked to see exactly what happened. But the linesman should, I mean, he's right there. If like Ali says, what's the point in them being there if that's what they're going to do? I don't understand it myself.
Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, always good to finish laughing at referees. That'll do us for tonight. On to Friday now, and it'll be an Old Firm preview club live, so be sure to join us for that. That's for sure. Thank you to our sponsors, Manscaped. Very much appreciated their support. If you'd like to use our code club at 22 at manscaped.com, you'll get 20% off and free shipping, and you'll also be doing us a favour because you'll be supporting our podcast, so I'd appreciate that. For tonight, Alistair, thank you very much.
No problem. I'll be back on Friday for the build-up for the dreaded Old Firm. I hate me and you hate Old Firms, Carney. There's miserable things to watch.
I'm in a strange week because this is my wee man's first week at his childminders for 3 days of the week. So like my week at this, like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, is just like absolute chaos because I've got so much running about to do. So like for tomorrow, I'll be fine. I'll not think about it. As soon as Thursday happens, I'm just going to be like, oh no, I know what's coming on Saturday.
Yeah, I know. It's that dreaded feeling you get. It's that kind of, that's a horrible feeling. But yeah, hopefully Beale will come out in the presser before we start on Friday and hopefully tell us the good news that Raskin is available to start, because I think that is a huge one for me going into Saturday, but we'll get into it on Friday.
Definitely be prepared for a midfield lineup of Lundstrom and Kamara. Scotia, thanks very much for tonight.
Yeah, cheers, Gavin. I'm similar to you guys that Old Firm weeks can be hellish at times, but obviously with this news that came out earlier this evening with the change at the top, that'll maybe offset that worry until later on in the week, like you say. But I am looking forward to speaking to you all about it on Friday. Yeah,
as I say, back on Friday. As always, before you go, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel. That would be magic. And yeah, it'll be Scotia or Ryan in the hot seat for Friday night as we look ahead to the upcoming Old Firm. So until then, enjoy the rest of your week. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Cheers, everybody.